Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I'm your host, your YouTube Messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar, Tim Vicious. And we are going to be talking about Raw this week. We're about 30-something days away till the most important day of the year in April. Of course, I'm talking about my birthday. Oh, I'm sorry, WrestleMania. Can't help it, folks. I can't help it. WrestleMania ties in with my birthday this year, so I'm going to be throwing out all them kind of quick jabs like that. But anyways, on with this week's show. First and foremost, total review score for the show of the evening. I give it a solid 4.5. You know, it didn't even, it's like when you go to give, if I'm giving it like a 5, if I'm giving it anywhere from like a 5 to a 6.5, really, it's like they're trying, it's just they can't get to it. But this one, it just seemed like, you know, which is a shame considering last week was such a fucking phenomenal show, you know? But anyways, this week it's in Nashville, so this week it was in Nashville, you know, and show starts out with Hunter coming out first, talks about on what it means to be the authority, to have the power, you know, and all that. And, you know, going on saying on how he's going to wind up beating Roman at Mania and all that. And then out comes Ambrose. You know, Ambrose gets on the mic, says, you know, I was talking to Roman in the back. He said, hi, by the way. And, you know, mentioned on how Roman's going to still be gunning for him. And then Dean threw out the challenge saying, you know, why don't you and I go one-on-one for that title? And, you know, he wanted to do it right then and there. And Trips just stopped him dead in his tracks like, whoa, you think just sitting there yelling, we're going to do this right now is going to make it happen? No. No. So, you got your match, you yourself have a match tonight, and it's going to be against Alberto Del Rio, but you may want to be careful though, because all of his League of Nations buddies is going to be all around the ring. So he had that. Added that little hint of like, oh man, there's going to be some interference. But yeah. Yeah, it's him. The second they started doing that, brain started swirling in my head, okay, how are we going to work this? And I'll get to that, you know, and first thing I thought was, March 13th, they're doing a March to WrestleMania special on the network. It's supposed to be in, I think, Toronto. You know, I know it's in Canada, but I'm not sure where in Canada. I think either Toronto or somewhere in Calgary. Not 100% certain, but either way, getting off topic. It's going to be March 13th. They're doing a network special for it, so 10 get you 20, they're going to do it then. Especially seeing as on how they haven't led to anyone throwing out any more challenges or have any of the guys so much as talk about wanting a match at Mania. You know? So, that's my thing. That's why I'm speculating. You know, so, moving forward, first match of the night, it was Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch for #1 contendership against Charlotte at title shot at Mania. This was the only thing relevant to a WrestleMania match that they mentioned. So, what it was, this was by great opening match, you know, and Rip Rogers put it out there on Twitter some time ago saying that promoters need to take notice and make sure that when they go and do a show, that their first match is a 5-star match of the night, so that way it sets the standard for the rest of the show. And God, those words cannot be more true. You know, you can have a mediocre, you don't want it, but you can have a mediocre match in the middle of the show or possibly somewhere near the end of the show. But you always want to make sure the beginning and the end are rock fucking solid. That cannot stress that enough when you go to make a show. You know, this was yet really good chain wrestling right at the start of this match, though. Just constant movement, trying to counter pins, going for each other's submissions and such. It was just great, you know. It was great back and forth. It didn't even seem like one had the upper hand over the other. It was just, okay, yeah, we're just gonna wrestle, you know. And it was amazing. That was it was good. That was the kind of stuff that was needed when they were trying to push that whole quote-unquote Divas Revolution, which, yeah, that went about as well as shit in a punch bowl. Anyways, match wound up going to an end when it went to a draw. Yep. Sasha, she came off the top, went and did a top rope power bomb, and the way they both landed, both of each other's shoulders were on top of each other, kind of like in that sort of way. Yeah, if you can kind of see that shit, I don't know. Oh, kind of like that. Fuck. Whose idea was it for me to do that hand gesture thing? Wade. God damn it. Some producers are just serious dicks. Yes, Wade, we are keeping that in the film this week. You won't believe half the stuff he has me cut out from the show. Anyways, they wind up basically, they both have both their shoulders on the mat, and they get and it's a double pin, so it leads to a draw. They wind up saying that they're going to do a rematch on SmackDown that week for it. So here's the hoping that, you know, it winds up leading to what some of the dirt sheets are speculating, saying that we get a triple threat match for it at Mania, in which case, please have it just be them three. Do not make it a four-way with Bella in it. Please. Now, moving forward, next matchup, Ziggler versus Miz. And okay, I know I just brought up earlier on how you always want to have a good opening match, and then you could have like one around near the middle and such, but don't have a good opening match and then lead to this match right here, because this match was honestly, it was really just pretty much roll-ups. I mean, it was like almost like it was almost like an old buddy of mine showed me a tape of his when he was doing this old wrestling school he went to before he dropped out, and they were just trying to counter roll-ups and just throw them on each other non-stop. And it was just, I mean, aside from that, the only wrestling move I think that was legitimately in this match was Ziggler doing a drop kick. You know? Could not understand it for the life of me. Anyways, Miz wound up getting the win with that roll-up, so yeah. Next matchup, it was the Lucha Dragons versus Rusev and Sheamus, and hearing Rusev was in the match confused me to no end, because earlier in the day, Rusev threw out a challenge saying he was going to do a body slam challenge, and if anyone could, he would give them his Maserati, in which case, oddly enough, Lex Luger, instead of looking like somebody deflated him, came back, looking all big and massive, came out, body slammed Rusev, started waving the U.S. flag around, and turned that Maserati into the new Lex Express. Oh, wait, no, I'm confusing fantasy with reality again. Damn it! I really gotta remember to take my meds. Can we cut that part? No? Really? Okay. Anyways, it was confusing that he threw out that challenge. Nothing ever came of it on TV, and instead they just basically made it on like a Twitter and Facebook kind of thing, and just, I don't know. I mean, that could have kind of worked out good if they'd have done that, because that could have chewed a few minutes. Have Rusev come out, cut a promo saying on how that nobody's able to really get him. And then you get like 2 or 3 guys who obviously, you know, wouldn't be able to, like Kofi or Bo Dallas. And then you get a big dude go and try and do it, like Big Show. And then have him go and do it. You know, have him get ready to hoist Rusev off the ground. And just as Rusev's feet just touch off the ground, boom, have the League of Nations go and do a roll-on on him. So that way it gives them heat, and it could give them, as strange as this may sound right here, and no, I'm not confusing fantasy with reality with this sentence right here, but it could help show with being more face. You know, could help with some sympathy. More so towards the kids that see it, not the grown-ups. But anyways, back to the lecture at hand, talking about with the match, Lucha Dragons, Rusev, and Sheamus. League of Nations them two were in control during the whole match, aside from when Sin Cara got the hot tag in on Kalisto. At Kalisto, when he got the hot tag in, he bounced around like a freaking pinball, moving anywhere and everywhere, like bam, 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 bam. Hitting everywhere, and yeah, Del Rio, he distracted Kalisto just as he was getting ready to go up, and which wound up leading to their inevitable demise, because Del Rio distracted, backed off, and then Kalisto turned around and wham! Boot right to the side of the head from Rusev. 1, 2, 3, win. So yeah. Next matchup, it was Adam Rose versus Ryroid. Oh, joy. This was the piss break of the night right here. This was the piss break right here. You know, they're now having Ryroid go and have more of an aggressive side. Dude, the only thing he looks like he would be more aggressive at is being a fucking troll, because honestly, you give him a fucking keyboard and that's all he is. He's a fucking muscled up keyboard warrior. Oh! Fuck that fucker. Anyways, next matchup, tag team match, New Day versus Jericho and Styles, as they're calling themselves now Y2AJ. And this Y2AJ, now they had good control right up until they got the commercial. They came back from commercial. New Day was in control of the match, you know, and it was a pretty okay match. I mean, nothing to like write home about or be like, oh dude, you missed this really cool match on Raw, you know, but it was pretty alright. I mean, probably the best part in this match was when Jericho got tossed out of the ring. Or no, I'm sorry, it was Styles, that's right. Not thinking right here. Talking faster than I'm thinking. Styles got tossed out of the ring. Kofi went over to him after he got out, and Woods pulled out a thing of cards and said, Kofi, pick a card! Kofi picked a card, and next thing you know, what is it? I got his number! It's his number! And they were just yelling, Kofi's got your number. And that fucking hilarious. You know, you do little things like that, it can help get you, it'll help you. You know, that was really kind of fun. But yeah, anyways, match wound up coming to an end with Jericho putting in the walls of Jericho on Kofi. He tapped, and then afterwards, Jericho and Styles put out the challenge for next week on Raw, which is now going to be in my least favorite town to see Raw in, Chicago. Courtesy of some douche nozzle that, you know, wanted to go and do that is sitting in purgatory on MMA. Won't say his name because he gets his nuts in a vice so much, sometimes he winds up suing people for nasty, inappropriate things. Ooh. Anyways, they threw out the challenge for next week on Raw for a tag match for the title, so I don't know, I could see it going either way with that. Styles and Jericho win, they could get the titles, hold it until March to Mania. They do a match there with a rematch there with New Day. New Day wins it back, and then they could lead into another match at WrestleMania itself. You know, to seal the deal on that one. Or, you know, it could go a couple different ways. Right now, it's still still seeing what stories they're simmering and letting build up towards Mania. But, digress. Next matchup, it was Uso 1, I think. It was either Uso 1 or Uso 2, I couldn't tell. Versus Bubba Ray Dudley. And yes, just Bubba. Not Bubba and Devon. Not the Dudleys. Bubba. Which was really cool to see because, you know, it's no doubt when I had absolutely no problem seeing Bubba doing his solo bit when he was in TNA as Bully Ray. It was really freaking phenomenal, and honestly, they gave him the ball and he fucking ran with it. You know? Bubba, for all intents and purposes, they have him ditch the camo, go back into kind of like a Bully Ray kind of, they have him go into a Bully Ray kind of attire and attitude. Guarantee he could be a top heel in the company. No doubt. You know? But as far as with this match, as far as with this match goes, it was pretty good. It was a good match. It was good seeing Bubba fighting solo. You know, he was hitting just like he did when he was Bully Ray. You know, yanked off Uso 1 shirt and pulled his arms. Wham! Open hand right on the chest. God almighty. That hurts like a sumbitch. You know? Anyway, yeah. And Devon wound up pulling out the distraction, going underneath the ring, pulling out a table. Uso 2 went to go and do a running attack to go and stop him. Devon threw the table at him. And I'm pretty sure somebody in the production truck did the effects because you heard table crunching like on there, and the table was still perfectly intact. But Uso 1 wound up seeing it, said something to Devon, and then turned around. Next thing you know, Bubba, full Nelson, power bomb. It was the Bubba bomb, basically. Got the 1, 2, 3 from there. So yeah, next matchup now we have Kevin Owens versus Big Show. This was a rematch from SmackDown. I did not get to catch SmackDown because I was in work at that time. I bust my ass. I'm a working man through and through, so I couldn't catch it. But it was a kind of a semi-okay match. I mean, it was cool seeing Owens going It was cool seeing Owens throw out some moves on somebody that was bigger than him. That oh wait, how is he going to be able to do half that stuff? You know, he did a tornado DDT off of the Big Show from the ring apron. You know, things like that, and beautiful and playing like the cowardly heel. I just want to get a quick victory. You know, encouraging and insisting that the ref count for the count-out win. And then when Owens was up on the top, excuse me, Owens was up on the top. Next thing you know, Show hit the ropes. Wham! Owens split the difference and got caught right in the ding-ding. Fell all over to the outside and lost via count out there. Next matchup after that, it was Brie versus Naomi. And yeah, this happened, I guess. Yeah. It was an ST Diva match through and through, you know. But yeah, Naomi had control for the whole match. She wound up locking into submission, got the win, and that was it. You know, the best part of this was Lana, yes, that's right, Lana, my future ex-wife, I may add, wound up saying something to Brie before the match and came on out to the ring, came on out after the match. So that right there was the highlight of it. Now it's time for the main event of the evening. It was Dean Ambrose versus Alberto Del Rio. And Del Rio had the whole League of Nations with him. Del Rio, he just tossed Ambrose around, yeah, and he was just beating him like he was a friggin' like he was the redheaded stepchild. Pardon the pun for those of you that know me. But he beat him up like he was the unloved stepchild, basically. And then when Ambrose looked like Ambrose was starting to get a second win. Next you know, boom, Tripp's music hits. He just stands there at the apron, goes over, now. And then the League of Nations come in and they just stomp the shit out of Ambrose and he gets a DQ win there. And then he goes over, Dean, when are you going to learn to listen to authority? And then that's Ambrose goes to attack him. You know, and then Trips, boom, pedigrees him, says, you want your match? You got it. And then walks away. And then you just see Dean on the ground, beaten senseless. Hey, Hunter, thanks. Ambrose is that asshole that does not know when to shut up even when he's on the ass end of an ass kicking. He is the guy that will get his ass kicked and complain about you not punching him hard enough. That's pretty much on how it goes. But that aside, it was cool seeing that because after that, Trips came back down, beat the ungodly hell out of him, tossed him over the announce table, threw Byron Saxton like he was unfreaking wanted, like, you know, he just grabbed him. And again, the intern is now going to play the role of Byron Saxton, unwanted and unloved, much like any other intern. Just grabbed him and wham, throw him like that, and I'll relax, you're fine. Now go get me some coffee. Yes, you'll still get college credit for it. Interns. He threw him around and then just laid him out on the table and then just walked away. So, like I said, chances are we're probably going to be getting this match coming up at March 2 WrestleMania. So, now, that is it for this week's show, folks. So do not forget to like the video, go back, watch the other episodes. Look for me on Twitter at Tim Vicious. Make sure you also look for my backup account, Tim_Vicious. I am also out there on that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. If y'all want to know if I'm on any other kind of social media stuff, feel free to ask me. I'm most active on my Twitter at Tim Vicious. I got no problem talking to any of y'all. Also, do not forget to leave any comments, questions, complaints, concerns, grunts, and groans right on down below. Appreciate all kinds of comments, good, bad, or otherwise. Always open to all kinds of criticism. And do not forget to follow all of these cool-ass cats right here on Twitter. Vicky Earls, I am Danny Sunday, Axel Mulligan, Sunday Segway, Simply Sabrina, Cranky Asshole, Aaron_Deborah, my executive producer, Oliver Ben. Do not forget to check out his music. It is out there on iTunes, Spotify, Xbox Gold, on Xbox, Live, and all that information is in the details, is in the description box down below. Just as Stupid Mark, as well as my client, Bronx Bitch Forever. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck you.